Good afternoon, everybody, from the streets of Ensenada on the Baja Peninsula, about 70 miles south of the U.S. Mexican border. I'm here today standing in front of this beautiful hotel here, which is still closed, I guess, due to the pandemic. But sure love the architecture, sure like the ironwork. Very amazing. Let's get right to it. I've had a lot of people ask me and send me emails asking me about visiting Mexico and some of the things that I've learned since 2019. Well, I've been coming to Mexico really since, say, 1990. I think about 1985 was the first time I went down to Tijuana, and my visits have become more frequent as time has gone by, as I've been sort of semi-retired and have really started to experience a lot of Mexico. Let me just preface this by saying I am not an expert on traveling in Mexico, but I've been to quite a few places. I've been to Los Algodones, I've been to San Luis, I've been to Mexicali, I've been to Tijuana more times than I can count, and finally here in Ensenada. And a few tips that I've learned along the way, and I guess the number one thing is to, when you come to Mexico, exercise patience. Reason being is the pace of activity, the pace of life, the pace of business is more of, I would say, opportunity for people to be friendly down here than it is just a straight business transaction. So if you're from the United States and you're somebody that's used to rapid, fast, get in, get out, this may be a little different for you to get used to. I was in a Telcel store. That's one of the Mexican cell phone companies here. Getting my data straightened out for use in Mexico, and there was a American guy, obviously lived in Rosarito, which is Rosarito Beach, which is a big retirement community here in Mexico, and he was very, very rude down there because he was somebody that didn't want to wait in line and take a number to be helped on, so he stamping his feet, making a fuss, and generally just giving a bad name, helping to give a bad name to those Americans who overseas who don't understand the importance of being patient. Be prepared to invest some time when you're doing anything, whether it's going into a convenience store, ordering food in a restaurant. It's going to take twice as long as it takes in the United States to get that. But the quality of what you're going to get and the friendliness is going to offset that, in my opinion. So be patient would be my number one tip, and slow yourself down. Get yourself to accommodate to life outside of the United States. You'll find that people are much friendlier when you're laid back and chill in your approach. They can sense when you're upset and hostile. And I can tell you 99.999% of the people that I've encountered in the many border towns of Mexico and here in Ensenada have been kind to a fault. So being patient is a key. Enjoy yourself, right? You're here to see what the local life is like. You don't want to rush yourself along, and just slow down. Slow down your thought processes, slow down, slow your roll when it comes to dealing with people. That's number one. Language. No matter how butchered you may do Spanish, you may know Spanish at all, it's not going to be that important, because when, especially most Americans are going to border towns, some of the resorts, and almost anybody that deals with the public is going to have some of them a great degree of fluency in English, so you don't have to worry whether it's a convenience store, the OXXO stores, OXXO stores here, or the 7-Elevens, the McDonald's. No matter where I've gone in most of the border towns, the exception of Mexicali and San Luis, which I will explain why, but no communication problems whatsoever because these are heavily touristed areas. The other towns, Mexicali and San Luis in particular, are not towns that most Americans visit. So it's a little harder to get along, but I still found people very kind in those places, even during my brief visits. Number two would be communications. You're going to be bringing your cell phone along. You're going to need to get a Mexican SIM card to get your best data deal. Verizon, my carrier in the States, gives me 1/2 gig of data once I cross the border. Well, that's gone in a flash. So that's useless. As much as I live stream, as much as I upload on YouTube, I really need a decent data package. But you can go into any convenience store, any Telcel store, any cell phone store, and you can purchase a SIM card. They'll load it in for you. They'll make sure it works. They want you to make sure you remember your phone number. A SIM card might cost you $15 to $20. That will establish you with a Mexican phone number, and at that point you can purchase the data that you want. I use Telcel, which has been outstanding for me. I get a bit over 5.25 gigs for about $26, which is very reasonable. So as much as I do on YouTube with live streaming and everything else, I find it a good 2 days of hard use, and I do mean hard use, will use up that card. So I plan on about $13 a day for great cell phone service. Telcel has been amazing. The quality of my streams has been good. So I just want you to bear in mind that you can purchase data plans, different types down here. They'll help you at the convenience store. They'll load up your SIM card for you. They'll make sure it works. But remember your phone number, because that SIM card is particular to one phone number. So you want to write it down, take a picture of it or something, the phone number. So when you go to reload your card, it's a simple matter. Taking your phone in, paying the $26 in pesos or US dollars, and then they will load that phone up for you, and you'll get an immediate notification. Now, when you do searches and things like that, understand that you're not in the United States, and you're going to see things like Google are going to be in Spanish, so be advised of that. But most things have translator. Google has translator abilities. You go to search restaurants, you'll see that the restaurants have menus in both languages. Very helpful. So don't worry about your data. Get yourself a SIM card, slide it in, use it, and enjoy to do your research, to do your Uber, to do anything, to Lyft, anything that you need to do. They tell me here in Ensenada, a lot of the taxis have been driven out of business precisely because Uber and Lyft are so popular, so have no fear. Number three has to do with safety, and I've been in some very sketch border towns. Mexicali, at night they roll up the streets about 5 p.m. and I tell you what, it can be a little spooky in there. So you want to limit your activities to daytime. Same with San Luis, went in at night. Don't see any foreigners at all in those places. Now, I never had a negative encounter there, but it gets a little spooky on the street. You'll find a good preponderance of homeless people out there, and you're going to have a real language barrier. You also have to be careful because some of the borders are not 24-hour borders, and you've got to clear out of town before those borders close. So know before you go by checking the State Department website, putting in the particular town, and they'll tell you what time those border crossings close. Give yourself plenty of time to leave. Limit yourself to daylight activities unless you're in a very heavy tourist area, and then you've got zero problem. Well, as for me, you guys know I like to venture out into the night, but I don't do that alone. I always make sure I'm with somebody else just in case. But do take the tip on that. I've never had a problem, nor do I expect I ever would have a problem. Let's talk about food here in Mexico. And we have that old hangover from the old days about Montezuma's revenge and the water and be careful what you eat. Well, you want to be careful what you eat anywhere. But things in Mexico, especially in tourist towns like Ensenada, Tijuana, places like that, they have so improved the quality of filtration, purification, distillation of things like water. You just want to stick to the bottled water, unless you're in one of the more notable restaurants where they have on-site distillation for tap water and things like that. As far as the food is concerned, it's excellent, and on average, you can expect to pay about half the price that you do in the United States. Sometimes it's often some meals are often much better, and a lot of them are. The United States, the pace is slower, you enjoy yourself more, and the bill comes and you're like, wow. For example, the other night we ate at a super fancy place here on the water in Ensenada. Beautiful, fantastic. You'll see the video coming up right on the water with the waves breaking, the sun setting. And I was surprised in that kind of atmosphere with the quality of food we had in the servers. 3 people with drinks, coffee, the whole shebang came to $70 for 3 people. Something that would have been easily double that in the United States. So have no fear. Try some things different on the menu. You don't really hear about people getting ill anymore. And I actually think that street food is one of the greatest things that you can try here in Mexico. The dollar tacos, sometimes you can get 3 for $2, and they'll throw in a soda for $2.50 altogether. It's great value. They're cooking the beef up right there. It's outstanding. And I love to do that. You're really depriving yourself if you don't try the street food. Remember, they got to be there day in and day out. They don't want to off their customers, okay? They want to serve the best that they can out there. And people do take a lot of pride in what they serve. So those would be my big tips. You can find hotels. You're not going to find them on hotel.com, but the range here is from $12 for, let's face it, you never know what you're going to get when you go into a $12 hotel, but you could have a very exciting night in there. But otherwise, you're looking at about $50 US a night, which is pretty darn good. But there's something for every price range and every adventurous person. Don't worry about credit cards, debit cards. They all work perfectly down here. Credit card machines, they bring mobile ones out to your table. And let's talk about currency exchange. You really don't need to do currency exchange anymore with credit and debit cards. And if you're using a Citibank or a JP Morgan, you're getting big block rates on transactions because of the amount of volume that they're processing. You're able to participate in a better rate than you can on the streets here when you change money. You take up 20, 50 bucks US and change it just for a little walking around money. But I'll tell you, credit and debit cards work fantastic down here. A few tips from me. Thanks so much for watching. I do hope that you'll come to Mexico and sample the life. It's a lot of fun. The people are fantastic. The food is great, colorful, loud, just a totally different experience. Your comments are welcome down below, and questions, and of course, your thumbs up are always appreciated. Thanks, everybody.